Okay, so I want to tell a little story about this guy I used to know named Nick. Nick Magipinto. I met Nick for the first time when I came to Dix Hills from Rockville Center. So we were in the same grade, third grade, and it's where I met him at. And we started becoming friendly with each other. You know, I didn't have too many friends back then. A lot of kids really didn't like me or talk to me. But this kid took a liking to me. And I don't know what it was, the way he looked, the way he talked, whatever. I thought this was like the coolest kid I ever met in my life. You know, the type of kid you just really, really wish you could be friends with. And now I'm getting my wish, right? Like we're starting to talk a little more and a little more every day. And then after a while, he finally invites me over his house. Now, this is the first time since I'd come to Dix Hills that anybody had invited me anywhere. And I'm just on cloud nine, right? Like I said, I thought this was the coolest kid ever. And I couldn't believe it. Like, oh my God, Nick wants me to come to his house. Oh my God, this is so cool. So we make plans for, the next day for me to come over there after school. So the next day comes, I get on the after school bus and I go over his house. And I had a feeling that this kid was hitting on me. Like he might be gay or something or bisexual. In whatever way a third grader would have understood it. But even back then, my gaydar was going off a little bit. But I'm like, whatever. Kid just likes me. So I get off the bus, we go in his house, and we start chilling. We go up to his room, and we're chilling in there. And at first it's normal. And then I start asking him what he thinks about certain people in our third grade class. Or just in our grade in general. And what do you think about this person, that person, blah, blah, blah. And he starts talking shit about the first couple of people. And I'm like, oh, okay, whatever. Can't like everybody. Everybody can't like you. So I decide to ask him more. Like, what do you think of this kid? What do you think of that girl? This kid, that kid. More negative shit. And then we start getting into people that there's no way you could dislike them, right? I mean, nice kids, cool kids. Didn't have any enemies. Like, you couldn't possibly think of any shit to talk about these kids. Somehow, he finds it. So I'm like, what the fuck? Damn, he's really got an agenda with some people. What's going on here? He doesn't seem as cool as I thought he was. Let's ask more. So I end up going through almost the entire class list that I could think of in my head. I'm talking at least 25 kids. He trashes every single one of them. Every one. This kid's a piece of shit. This kid's a fucking loser. This girl's ugly. Blah, blah, blah. What the fuck is wrong with him? I mean, guys like Jason Goldstein, who nobody disliked. Jason Goldstein was cool as fuck. Like, I don't know how you could think of anything bad to say about him. But again, he found it. Like, this kid's got some problems. Maybe be careful what you wish for. Holy shit. I'm like, whatever. Maybe he's having a bad day. Just forget about it. So, we chill for a while more. And it's kind of more of the same. More like negative shit. And I'm starting to get pretty tired of it. But I'm still trying to ignore it. I'm still trying to give the guy the benefit of the doubt. And then we decide to go down to his basement and play some video games. I think it was like Sega Genesis at this point. And for some reason, we start fighting over the game console. Just out of nowhere, right? It's just one of those things where you have no real reason to fight about something. But it's someone you just really, really don't get along with. You just butt heads no matter what. If there's no reason to fight, you'll make one up. I guess that was me and Nick in the end. because he just starts throwing a fucking shit fit. But I don't even know what it was specifically. But we end up in this fucking screaming match, like screaming and cursing at each other. And his father has to run down to the basement and like physically pull him away from me and drag him upstairs. And then his dad looks at me and goes, David, I gotta call your mom. Tell her to come get you, that this night's over. Yeah, I agree. Definitely over. But we keep yelling at each other and it never really stops. And my mom gets there like 15, 20 minutes later. We're still going, right? We're still yelling and screaming and cursing at each other. And I don't even remember if my mom got out of the car. I think she did. She came up to the house and, she goes, sorry, Jim. His father's name. Sorry, Jim, it didn't work out. He's like, yeah. Is this best you come and got him? He goes, well, I'm here. Let's go, David. So I start walking to the car, and he opens his front door and starts yelling at me again. And I'm yelling back like, fuck you, I hate you. Don't ever talk to me again. Yeah? Fuck you. Whatever we were saying, all the way to the car. Until the moment I got in the car and shut the door, it was still going. I mean, this must have been like 30 or 40 minutes of us just at each other's throats. And like a few hours earlier, we were friends. It's like, how does this shit happen? I mean, just to this day, I still don't get it. You could be friends 1 minute, enemies the next. It's especially in the 3rd grade. But I barely spoke to him again after that. As you could imagine, after that experience, wow. And we really didn't speak again the rest of 3rd grade. And then now we're in 4th grade. And of course, we're still in the same class. Again. And I started learning just how much of a pussy crybaby this kid was. Like, I was under the impression he was popular, right? And most kids liked him. No, wrong. I guess nobody really did. I was just too blind to see it. And we were playing kickball one morning at gym class. And a couple kids start making fun of him and talking shit. And it looks like it's kind of getting to him. So more kids jump in. And then like half of the gym class is just talking all this shit to Nick. Making fun of him. And then all of a sudden, he just starts fucking crying, right? Like a little girl. And just runs off the field. And we're all rolling on the ground laughing like it was the greatest thing we ever saw. Like, what a fucking pussy, bro. He ran away crying. And of course, including me. I've been waiting for that moment since the year before when all this shit happened. Oh, it was great. It was fucking great. And whatever was left of this kid's reputation, if he ever had one to begin with, I guess that was the end of it. And I never really talked to him again after that. Very occasionally. And lucky for us, I ended up skipping 5th grade. And now he's in a grade before me. So we never really had anything to do with each other after that. And we were at Candlewood. And then after Candlewood, he went to St. Anthony's, I believe. One of those Catholic kids that didn't go to Hills West. Yeah, St. Anthony's, and I haven't seen him in over 20 years. So, yeah. And the whole thing I said about him possibly being gay, my gaydar, well, I guess my gaydar was pretty accurate. Because not only was he gay, not only did he not end up marrying a man, but it was featured in the fucking New York Times. Like, you could literally look this up on Google. Like, Nick Majapinto, and you'll see a big-ass ad in the New York Times for his gay wedding. Yeah. Definitely was right about that. So, that was my little story about Nick Majapinto. How I thought he was the coolest kid ever. Even though he turned out to be one of the biggest faggots I ever met in my life. Yeah, sometimes you gotta be really careful what you wish for. What a guy. What a fucking guy.